How does the reaction to your group differ in the United, or does it differ in the United States to England? Are you a smash over here as well as over there, as much of?
Well, there's more people here. That's so. Therefore, it's it's a proportional difference, really. It's probably the same, but on a different scale here.
Did you expect this kind of appreciation of what you do?
And not to begin with, because
not to this extent.
No.
We knew we were appreciated by the fact that people were coming along to see us in such great, vast numbers, all over the place, England and the continent and wherever. But no one expected this.
Certainly not.
Face is cracked from smiling, all the fears that she's been hiding, and it seems that pretty soon everybody's gonna know.
Why did you and Jimmy wind up going up to Wales to come up with material for Led Zeppelin 3?
All we wanted to do was keep stretching. This is the whole thing about Led Zeppelin, or about Jimmy or myself or anything that happens. John Paul too, he's composing some quite remarkable music in England in a different field. And we wanted to try and stretch it out and open it up and change, just shock ourselves to see exactly what we could do. So we set off in a jeep with Strider the dog and some kids, 2 women, and a gypsy bodyguard. We just started trying going back into more of an acoustic vein. It wasn't an area that we hadn't touched, because Your Time Is Going to Come, Babe, I'm Going to Leave You All. And the total awareness of, or not total, but just being exposed to the incredible string band and Roy Harper and all that sort of stuff around, which was music for the head, which was coming from more acoustic based. And that's what we did, and I think it was a great success. The least successful Led Zeppelin album, and with the critics screaming for our lives and blood, saying, "What's this crap?" It was probably one of our finest moments. And the fact that we deemed that we had to do it at all is a fine moment.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of my Led Zeppelin album deep dive series. Today I'm talking about their third album, Led Zeppelin 3. This was released on October 5th, 1970. It had been recorded from November 1969 up until August 1970 at 3 different studios. They worked at Headley Grange, which was a country house using the Rolling Stones mobile studios, but they also did some work at both Olympic Studios and Island Studios in London. And I think this is the first album you could argue was not an improvement over the previous one. I like this album a lot. I like it just because it's so different. The songs have not been overplayed on the radio, and they're taking some risks. They're doing more acoustic, folk type songs. It's a lighter album than they had ever attempted before. There's still some heavy music on here, but it's certainly not the beat you over the head bombast of the second album. So it's an enjoyable album, absolutely. It's not one of my favorite. I don't even think it's in my top 5 Led Zeppelin albums, but it's still an enjoyable album. I like the songs on here. I do listen to this album quite a bit, but it's just not as solid as either of the first 2 albums. And not for the first time on a Led Zeppelin album, their album packaging would create a delay in the release of the album. This was released with, I guess, what's called like a farmer's wheel or something like that, where you can actually rotate this and different images will appear in the little die-cut circles here, which was very unique at the time. It does have a gatefold for the second time in Led Zeppelin's career, and a nice picture of the band on the back. So the album opens with Immigrant Song, and this is in the classic Led Zeppelin style. It is a very short song, as a matter of fact, but during the short time that it's playing, it is as heavy as anything Led Zeppelin had arranged or performed before. I like this one a lot. This was the only song on this album that I can really remember being played on the radio, but it's heavy as all hell. You got the lyrics about the Vikings and conquest, and great Robert Plant vocal.
Drive our ships to new land.
definitely a highlight on the album. And then we transition into our first acoustic folky based song with Friends. Sounds almost like you got like the Bombay Orchestra in the background, although I don't know if that's true or not, but definitely you have some Eastern textures going on here. I like this song a lot. It's very laid back, and it's a nice juxtaposition to the Immigrant Song.
she's gonna let me only looking for what I knew.
Then we transition right into another very heavy song, Celebration Day. I believe it's a synthesizer that makes that drone that you hear transitioning. And I had read apparently Led Zeppelin had recorded a much more elaborate transition, but the engineer, the person working in the studio, accidentally taped over it. But Celebration Day is a great hard rocking song. It's just not as great as any of the songs off the second album. And that's one of the things about the heavy songs on here. They're a little bit lackluster, and I don't mean that to say that they're bad. They don't have that special something that the heavy songs on the first two records did. And Celebration is one of those. I like it a lot. They played it live. There's a version of it on The Song Remains the Same, but I wouldn't say it's one of the highlights of Led Zeppelin's catalog. Then we have one of my favorite Led Zeppelin blues songs, Since I've Been Loving You, which I genuinely love. It's I think it might have been one of the longest blues songs that they recorded up to this point, but I like it a lot. I like John Paul Jones's keyboard. I love Jimmy Page's slow blues guitar playing on here. The very understated drumming of John Bonham is great.
I don't think that's right. I've really been the best of food. I did what I could, yeah. Of course I love you, baby. How I love you, darling. How I love you, baby. How I love you, little girl. Baby, since I've been loving you, yeah, I'm about to lose my war and mind. Ah, yeah. Everybody trying to tell me that you didn't leave me no
Everything about this song works for me. I love it. Then the last song on side one is again another one of those just average, heavy songs that we get from Led Zeppelin on this record. Out on the Tiles, kind of catchy chorus, but this was never going to get any radio play. At least it didn't in my area. And it's fine. It's a heavy song, but there's just not like a hook. There's nothing here that makes it all that special. So you flip the record over, and side two is really where this album gets its reputation as lighter, more acoustic and folk-based. Starts off with Gallows Pole, which was an adaptation of an old British folk song. I like it a lot. I like the mandolin on here. I like the way that it starts to pick up in tempo towards the end. A good way to open up side two. Then Tangerine, which is one of my favorite songs on the album. It's another breezy, folky. It does get a little bit heavy in the choruses. I love how the song winds down at the end where it's just the acoustic guitar, Jimmy Page's, I guess it's slide guitar, and then it just kind of quietly winds down.
Day, I only find it slips away to gray. The hours they bring me pain. Tangerine, tangerine, living reflections from a dream. I was her love, she was my queen, and now 1,000 years between. Thinking how it used to be? Does she still remember times like these? To think of us again, and I do.
Third song is one of the most topical political songs, I guess you could say, in Led Zeppelin's career. Definitely a song about the civil rights, black-white relations as they pertained, I presume, to England, but also the United States as well.
I don't know how I'm gonna tell you I can't play with you no more. I don't know how I'm gonna do what Mama told me, my friend, the boy next door. I can't believe what people saying. You're gonna let your hair hang down. I'm satisfied to sit here working all day long. You're in the darker side of town. When I'm out, I see you walking. Why don't your eyes see me? Could it be you found another game to play? What did Mama say to me? That's the way, oh, that's the way it ought to be. Yeah, yeah. Mama said that's the way it ought to stay. Yeah, yeah.
One of the few songs that Led Zeppelin would write in this style, but this song reminds me a lot of some of the stuff on Elton John, the second side of Elton John's Honky Chateau album. I think it's haunting, and I think it's very effective. Then we have what I guess is best described as kind of a jug band, hoedown type of song. It's very kind of countrified, acoustic folk. You've got John Bonham just playing the kick drum. It's a full-on acoustic workout, which I like a lot. I think it's very charming. I like that song. favorites on the album. And then definitely the head scratcher, hats off to Roy Harper. Roy Harper was a musician who Led Zeppelin were friendly with. He actually does the lead vocal on Pink Floyd's song Have a Cigar. And for whatever reason, I think partly because he inspired the acoustic direction that Led Zeppelin went on this album, they titled the song as a nod to him. But for the life of me, the fact that they left off Hey, Hey, What Can I Do and stuck that as a B-side to Immigrant Song and yet put this one on here, I think it's just an experiment that they don't pull off very effectively. I'm not a huge fan of this. I understand what they were trying to do a bit of old-timey country blues or whatever, but you've got Robert Plant's flanged vocals, and there's just not really any rhythm that the song settles into. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it was a huge mistake not to put Hey, Hey, What Can I Do as the album closer, a much better song. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Led Zeppelin 3. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you're enjoying this series. As you can tell, I'm kind of losing my voice. I think I'm coming down with something. Hopefully it's not what I think it is. But anyway, hope you're doing great and take care.